Today in Illinois, near Collinsville, local people are afraid to approach a certain place. It's sacred, they say. There's a powerful energy. Strange sounds at night. Some say it's cursed. Some say it's the place of the gods. But none of them explain, what was this place? Because they don't know. It's not in their grandfather's legends, not in their ancestors' stories, as if it was deliberately forgotten. But archaeologists know. Beneath this land lie 120 mounds. The largest is 100 feet high. Between 1050 and 1200 AD, at least 20,000 people lived here. The largest city on the American continent. Bigger than London. But by 1400, it was abandoned, and no tribe speaks of this city. Archaeologists developed a theory. Something so terrible happened, everyone wanted to forget. Today, local people are still afraid of it, still consider it sacred. But why? What happened there? Today, are you ready to solve this urban legend and the curse of silence? Cahokia Mound's State Historic Site is a park today. Thousands of tourists visit every year, but local people think differently. Native American communities see Cahokia as a sacred place. Metaphysical groups call it a source of powerful psychic energy. Some visitors tell stories. When I climbed Monk's Mound, I felt something strange, like I was being watched. I wouldn't want to go near it at night. Local farmers plowed fields over the mounds for years, but they always said, "This is a strange place. Bad things happened here." Here's the most interesting part. No surrounding Native American tribe has Cahokia in their legends. The Osage tribe doesn't know. Omaha doesn't know. Ponca doesn't know. Quapaw doesn't know. Even the Illinois Confederation doesn't mention this city. But how is that possible? This city housed tens of thousands of people between 1050 and 1200 AD. 120 mounds were built. People lived here for centuries. And no one remembers? Archaeologists call this the legend of silence. There's a theory. Something so traumatic happened that it was deliberately erased from oral history. Maybe a massacre. Maybe a disease. Maybe the curse of the gods. Whatever it was, no one wants to talk about it. In the early 1800s, American explorers noticed something strange along the Mississippi River. Giant earthen mounds. Hundreds of them. Some 100 feet high, some as big as a football field. They asked the local people, "Who built these?" No one answered. "What is this place?" "We don't know." This was impossible, because these mounds were clearly man-made. Someone must have built them, but they weren't in any tribe's legends. The first scientific investigation was conducted in the 1880s. Archaeologists began excavations, and they were shocked. These weren't just mounds. This was a city, an ancient metropolis. But what was its name? No one knew. The original inhabitants hadn't used writing. They'd left no records. Archaeologists named the city Cahokia, but this was misleading, because Cahokia was the name of a different tribe that came to the area in the 1600s. The original city's name was lost, just like its people. Around 700 AD, there were small villages on this land, late woodland culture, a few hundred people. They lived along Cahokia Creek, hunting, fishing, growing corn. But around 1000 AD, something changed. People started flooding in, from everywhere, from the Great Lakes, from the Gulf of Mexico, from the Appalachian Mountains, from the Rocky Mountains. How do archaeologists know this? From teeth. Teeth contain strontium isotopes. These isotopes show the chemical composition of water. People from different regions have different isotopes in their teeth. About a third of the skeletons found in Cahokia came from elsewhere. So Cahokia was an immigrant city, a center of attraction. But why? What was here? Archaeologists propose several theories. Maybe a religious center, maybe a trading hub, maybe the call of a powerful leader. Whatever it was, around 1050 AD, Cahokia exploded. Within 50 years, the population reached 20,000. Some estimates go as high as 40,000. At that time, London had 18,000 people. Paris had 25,000. Cahokia was competing with them. The largest city on the American continent. The largest settlement north of Mexico. At the center of Cahokia rises a massive mound, Monk's Mound, 100 feet high. Base area of 14 acres, about 5.7 hectares. A larger base than some Egyptian pyramids. Entirely man-made. 50 million cubic feet of earth moved, in baskets, on their backs. Thousands of people, working for years. And at the top of the mound was a structure, 100 feet long, nearly 50 feet wide, 50 feet tall. A temple. Archaeologists say this was the ruler's home and ceremonial center. So Cahokia's leader lived here, at the top. He could see everyone. Everyone could see him. This was a message. I am close to the gods. I am above you. In Mississippian culture, this was common. Leaders saw themselves as equal to the gods. The God King concept. And Monk's Mound was the physical manifestation of this concept. But who was this leader? What was his name? No one knows. No records exist. Only silence. Cahokia was an organized city. Planned settlement. Houses arranged in rows, around open plazas. The central plaza was 40 hectares in size. Its four corners faced the four cardinal directions: north, south, east, west. This wasn't by chance. The Cahokia people believed in cosmology. The universe consisted of four directions, and the plaza represented that universe. Ceremonies were held here. Rituals. Sacrifices. The city had various professions. Farmers, growing corn. Hunters, hunting deer, rabbits, catching fish. Craftsmen, making pottery, jewelry. Traders, trading with distant regions. Cahokia was a self-sufficient city. Near the Mississippi River. Abundant water. Abundant fish. Fertile soil. Cornfields stretched to the east of the city. Everything was perfect. But beneath the surface, something was wrong. In the 1960s, archaeologists excavated Mound 72 in Cahokia, a burial mound, and they found something horrifying. Over 300 human skeletons. Most were young women, between 15 and 25 years old. Mass grave. But this wasn't a war grave. This was a ritual burial. At the very top of the mound, a 20-year-old man lay, on a platform made of 20,000 shell beads. The shells were arranged in the shape of a bird, probably a falcon or eagle. Beneath the man, a 20-year-old woman. Around them, 4 men's headless and handless bodies. Their heads and hands had been cut off. Why? No one knows. In another section, 53 young women, all buried at the same time. Perhaps ritual sacrifice, perhaps for the death of someone important. In another section, 39 men and women, poorly nourished, probably slaves or prisoners of war, killed and buried. Mound 72 shows Cahokia's dark side. This wasn't just a great city. This was also a violent society. A powerful hierarchy existed, elites at the top, common people at the bottom. And sometimes people were sacrificed. For the gods? For the leaders? No one knows. But one thing is certain. Only a small part of Mound 72 has been excavated. There could still be hundreds of bodies inside. In the late 1100s AD, the Cahokia people did something. They built a massive wall, a palisade, about 2 miles long. They used 20,000 logs. They surrounded the city center. They protected Monk's Mound. But why? They hadn't needed anything like this before. Between 1050 and 1100 AD, Cahokia was an open city. No walls. But in the late 11th century, something changed. A threat emerged. From whom? From neighboring tribes? From another city? From internal rebellion? No one knows. But building the palisade was an enormous effort. Cutting 20,000 logs, transporting them, erecting them. Thousands of people must have worked on this. So the threat was serious. And here's what's interesting. Shortly after the palisade was built, Cahokia began to collapse. Population declined. People started fleeing. The palisade couldn't stop anything. In Cahokia, there was a structure called Woodhenge, like Stonehenge in England, but not made of stone, made of wooden posts. Circular arrangement, dozens of posts, each about 20 feet high. It tracked the sun's movements. At the solstices, the sun rose precisely between certain posts. It marked the equinoxes. A calendar. But it wasn't just a calendar. The Cahokia people believed Woodhenge was the axis mundi, the center of the world, a point of communication with the gods, a bridge between sky and earth. When the sun rose, viewed from Woodhenge, it passed directly over Monk's Mound. This wasn't by chance. It was intentional alignment. The message was, the gods have blessed Monk's Mound. The leader living there is connected to the gods. Rituals were performed here, ceremonies at the solstices, sacrifices offered, people gathered. Woodhenge was Cahokia's spiritual center. But after the 1200s, something changed. No new posts were erected. Ceremonies stopped. The gods didn't answer. Cahokia wasn't an isolated city. It had a massive trade network. Archaeologists found in Cahokia copper from the Great Lakes, seashells from the Gulf of Mexico, mica, shiny stone from the Appalachian Mountains, obsidian, volcanic glass from the Rocky Mountains. These came from 1,200 miles away. How? Trade network. Cahokia traders traveled by rivers, the Mississippi, Missouri, Ohio rivers. They traded with different tribes for corn, pottery, jewelry. Cahokia was a wealthy city, trading center, cultural center, religious center. People came from everywhere. But in the 1200s, something changed. The trade network weakened. Traders stopped coming. Cahokia was left alone. Around 1200 AD, things started going wrong in Cahokia. Population began declining. People were leaving the city. Why? There are several theories. Theory 1, climate change. In the mid-1200s, drought hit the region. Corn crops failed. Famine. People had to migrate. Theory 2, environmental degradation. They'd cut 20,000 logs for the palisade, thousands more for houses, for wood henge. Forests had diminished, soil erosion, flooding. The environment was damaged. Theory 3, war. Why was the palisade built? There was a threat. Maybe war with neighboring tribes, maybe internal conflict. People didn't feel safe. Theory 4, disease. High population density, hygiene problems, maybe an epidemic. Thousands died. Theory 5, loss of faith. The God King concept collapsed. People stopped trusting the leader. The gods have abandoned us. Rituals didn't work. People were disillusioned. They migrated. Which is correct? Probably all of them. A combination. But the result was the same. By 1400, Cahokia was abandoned. No one remained, as if it vanished overnight. Here's the real mystery. Why doesn't any tribe mention Cahokia? Osage, Omaha, Ponca, Quapaw, none of them. Not even the Illinois Confederation. No legends, no stories, no accounts. As if Cahokia never existed. Archaeologists call this the Great Taboo. One theory, something so traumatic happened that it was deliberately erased from oral history. Maybe massacre, maybe cannibalism, maybe the curse of the gods. Whatever it was so terrifying that no one wanted to talk about it. For generations, don't speak of that city. Don't go there. It must be forgotten. And over time, it really was forgotten. Even its name was lost. But the earth didn't forget. 120 mounds still stand, waiting silently. In 1982, Cahokia was added to the UNESCO World Heritage List. Official description: the most sophisticated prehistoric native civilization in North America. Today, Cahokia Mound State Historic Site is a park. Thousands of visitors come every year. You can climb Monk's Mound. You can see 68 preserved mounds. There's a museum, guided tours. But many mounds have been lost. To farming, to construction, to highways. Today, Interstate 55/70 and 255 run through the middle of Cahokia. An ancient metropolis hides beneath modern Illinois. Estimates say only 1% of the mounds have been excavated. What else is there? No one knows. But one thing hasn't changed. Local people still feel a powerful energy. Sacred place. Strange sounds at night. Maybe the legends are true. Maybe something really did happen in Cahokia. Something so terrible, it had to be forgotten. Cahokia is one of the world's greatest archaeological mysteries. Why did it suddenly rise in 1050 AD? Why did tens of thousands of people flock here? Why did it start collapsing in the 1200s? Where did they go? The biggest mystery: why doesn't any tribe mention this city? The legend of silence. Archaeologists are still digging, using new technologies, LiDAR scans, ground-penetrating radar, DNA analysis. Every year they learn new things, but some questions remain unanswered. What was the city's original name? Who was the God King? What really happened in Mound 72? What was the palisade protecting against? And most importantly, What happened that made everyone want to forget? Maybe we'll never know. Maybe some secrets should stay buried. But Cahokia teaches us something. Even the greatest cities can vanish. Even the most powerful civilizations can collapse. And sometimes, only silence remains. Have you heard this legend before? Share your thoughts in the comments. And under the urban legends, let's uncover the immortal legends of the mortal world together. If you believe this urban legend deserves to be heard more, don't forget to like and share. Every legend gives us a chance to meet the soul of the city where it resides. A new urban legend is coming soon. Until then, keep your heart open. Don't dismiss the ground you walk on, and remember, sometimes the greatest legends can be right beside you. Mortal world, immortal legends.